hip-hop is a cultural force. But when I was growing up, few people...
Floppy, or that they were partisan, or that they were hypocritical, or that they were biased, or even that they were inaccurate.
You were born in Austin at St. Vincent's Hospital.
11:59 is when you were born. 11:59, because he kept asking me, "Oh, can you hold it just a little bit longer?" Yeah, no, I can't hold this. This gotta out. Yes, you were 6 pounds, 7 ounces, and I think 19 inches long, maybe.
Welcome back to I'm ready to talk now.
What's happening, everyone? It has been a while. I'm very aware of that. I feel like it's been like a year. I'm for certain it's been a year. So, I was not wanting to take a hiatus. Let's say that. That was not in the plans. So, I'm here. I'm back. And, try to get reacquainted with this fucking microphone. And, yeah, let's do this thing. I'm gonna do my best to get through this stuff. I got a lot to go through. But this is more about, celebration time, okay? This is about, reflecting and celebrating in the same breath, hopefully. About to reach a new era in my life, and I feel like talking about it. So, yeah. I think every child, kid climbing the ranks to adulthood, really wants to make their parents proud, whether it's in spite of, or whether it is coming from a genuine, loving place. You're just wanting to pay them back, and you just want to make them so proud. You want them to know that you're doing okay, that you're making the right decisions in life, that you made the right decision for your career. Basically, that you're surviving and thriving. If you have had the privilege of being around a supportive family throughout your journey, then consider yourself, very fortunate, very lucky. Those of you that know, there's a lot of trial and error that comes with the pursuit of gaining that love and support, and that trust from your loved ones. Some of that love, can come in many forms. Whether it be in the form of nurturing and guidance and positivity. And unfortunately, I think it's considered love. It just comes from a very deranged mentality. But unfortunately, like the other side is, like pain and, torment and, dysfunction. And, my least favorite and the most important from time to time, I think, is self-hatred. So, that's the shitty side of it. Now, as we get older, some of us may find it difficult to remember why we do the things we do throughout our lifetime, Not saying like you're hitting like the senior citizen club part of it, No, too young for that shit. I just think about like what made us choose to go this direction and not the other. We're just needing to make sense of certain sections, you know, of our lives as adults. So, anyway, like I've said, again, if you're fortunate to have older living family members, just go to the source. And for me, it's my immediate family. So what I'm going to attempt to do is reflect on my childhood and, you know, and the last 20 years of just trying to navigate my way through life. Now, I'm not going to be able to get through everything because that's like 3 hours probably plus. And, you know, nobody wants to listen to 3 hours of this. You barely want to listen to 30, let alone 15, quite possibly. But I'm also, you know, I'm also just not very fond of nosebleeds. You know, it's just too reminiscent of, that's a childhood memory that I don't want to have anything to do with. However, I am very fond of our curiosity as humans. You know, my philosophy is, I think as humans, like, if we can just stop, and listen, and observe what's in front of us, I think we can make this short amount of time that we have with one another that much more special, you know? Because honestly, like, you know, curiosity should always be right in front of you. Always. Right?
Very, very curious.
Well, mainly you were curious about what? Music. Music and
Yeah, that's true.
photo photography. I remember exposing you to cameras, antique cameras. Before I took you to parks, outings, nature, and you would ask me questions about why was this or that, or what was going on here, or different people. And I remember giving you in, putting story to cultures, or languages, and music, in and around Washington.
When you're a little kid, let's say, I don't know, 5 or 6, let's say about 5 or 6 years old. Some kids always have the basic answers for, you know, when they're being asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know? Unfortunately, I was that basic kid. So, at least for a little while. Probably, yeah, I think until about 9 years old. I thought I was supposed to answer in the same typical fashion as all the other kids, as, you know, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a Walmart greeter. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but that was just me. That didn't last long, but while I was answering those types of questions, during that time period, I was playing sports. You know, I was into everything. I was drawing a little bit. I won some little competition in some like local newspaper. I think it was called the Green Sheet or something like that. That was fun. It was a nice, little before we knew what dopamine was, but that was a nice little boost. I was really into like cartoons. I loved cartoons. I was into Hanna-Barbera cartoons and obviously like Looney Tunes and those things. But I started to graduate into the Japanese anime stuff, and I was watching a lot of that, and I was watching wrestling, and I was heavily into music, and I was reading comic books, and trading Marvel cards, with my friends, and I was reading about the basic civil rights movements across the country. So those interests were shaping me, but I still felt the need to give robotic answers, depending on what authority figure was talking to me at school at that time. I just know for a fact that I was hiding. And I was hiding those things because, when adults don't give a fuck about, what you're doing with your time and what your interests are. There's very few teachers and adults who actually give a shit about that. Maybe things have changed. Hopefully so. But I knew that I had already started to dislike cops and lawyers. So that was out. And I know why. And it was mainly due to, it's the 90s, man. It's the early 90s. So, all kinds of random shit was going on, but I didn't see a lot of that where I was. Not to the degree that I'm about to speak about, but when I was 8, I was watching the news with my parents. Every now and again, I would do that. Wasn't the greatest times, but sure, why not watch the news with your parents? I'm sitting there with my folks, and I am witnessing a black man named Rodney King getting beat damn near to death by nothing but white cops. So, that changed my perspective instantly. Not looking for role models in that occupation, right? So, but I knew that, we're a black family who lives in Williamson County, Austin, Texas. And, shit can happen. So, it can happen to any of us at any given time. So, as a kid does, I just went right back out there and go ride my bike, around the neighborhood with my friends until 9 o'clock at night, like a fucking moron. But seriously, those that know exactly what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, Wilco, and I'll leave it there. All of those things I was soaking in. That was the stuff that was shaping me as a boy. Meanwhile, I am also a introverted, shy kid, so what the fuck am I going to do about anything? But I wanted to do everything. And what everything meant to me was creating and entertaining. I just wanted to be part of something that allowed me to build, play, have fun, I'll laugh with everybody and, eventually, hey, let's do this. What are you doing? Nobody wants to hear you talk about it. my heroes are doing it, so why can't I? But that curiosity I spoke about before is still right in front of me. I don't know why it won't leave, and maybe sadly, I don't think I'm ready for it to do just that either.
Everybody younger than me, please stop dealing with your parents so much. You cannot have your own nervous breakdown to become a great creative person if you're cathected on your parents because it's a fake friend. It's like a friend on the payroll. Because who could not love you? Who could not love you as their own child? Mm-hmm. Every person between the age of 25 and 34 must have the inner hologram of their life that was built before they were 24 collapse, because it was a child's construction to keep the world going.
So when I was like 19, 20, I had a brief mental breakdown in my apartment as one of my best friends / roommate had to watch and listen to me. That poor bastard. Sorry, homie. Dude, I need you to stand there and watch me and listen to me as I just freak out right in front of you. And you didn't sign up for this, but yeah, dude, you're gonna get it. Seriously, I freaked the fuck out. I was freaking out about my life and this new concept called paying bills. And I was needing to get a second job because I thought for sure the TV station I was working at was going to make me full-time any day now. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen for the next few years. So I'm working, all these different part-time jobs just to make up so I can pay bills and such. But man, the human brain is complicated and evil as fuck when you don't know how to manage it properly. Ultimately, I was perturbed. I had a fucking anxiety attack at the thought, the notion I wasn't good enough to do anything. And I didn't have any talent to justify my existence. Crazy stupid. I convinced myself I had no talent to do much of anything. That, my friends, was a lie. Everyone has talent in many areas. It may not be the talent they think they should have. It's there though. You just have to seek it out. Even if you gotta do it on your own and not be afraid to do a deep dive. Just so you can find that special thing about you. And with the right amount of drugs, you will become a Walmart greeter. I'm halfway joking. Honestly, you're never too good to become an employed bougie ass panhandler at Walmart. Think about it. Drugs did take part in a discovery, though. A small amount of the fun drugs actually helped me realize some of that shit was indeed a lie. You know? So, after I came back down to planet Earth, what came to me during that process was some words were said to me a couple times during my senior year. Those words hurt me more than I thought. I gotta tell you, one of the worst things you can tell a teenager is they are overconfident about their dreams and their aspirations. Yeah, not helpful. That shit is not helpful. This is the exact moment when that kid needs some type of guidance and support. Never, nunca, jamás, never, ever tell a kid they are overconfident when they're still at the stage of their adolescence, trying to gain the very thing called confidence. You can't do that. They are about to embark into the new world, to the real world. You know? You should be there for that kid and support. You should be there for that kid and help them any way you possibly can. That's your job. It's not your job to say stupid shit that makes that kid think his or her ideas are not a good path choice or just not realistic. You can literally save a kid's life just by being there and allowing them to explore. You have to allow them to explore and find out. That's the only way.
One day, we're all gonna die. And that's sad when someone dies. However, not enough of us spend time celebrating the fact that we were alive at all. We,
as individuals or collectively?
At all, individually. You are lucky that you get to die. Because most humans who could ever exist never will.
There's been more, I think I've heard you say it, there's been more humans that have not come into existence than do exist.
By far. And so the fact that you exist at all is against stupefying odds of who gets born and who does not. Realizing this, you are you, I am me. We are alive. We get to die. And to get to die means you get to live. Any moment you spend squandering those moments you are alive does disrespect to all those who will never even be born. So every day I wake up, I want to make the world a better place today for my having been in this world than it was yesterday. I want to learn something new, which empowers me to make decisions that are more nuanced, deeper, more informed than I could have made yesterday. And I want to celebrate being alive.
I haven't accomplished all the things that I've been wanting to do in my life yet. There are major life goals on the old bucket list that I would love to cross off. Love to. It's coming. Now, through all the ups and downs, through it all, I've been incredibly lucky in more ways than one, okay? Like right now, just being able to still do this thing, still be able to talk about some of this with you guys is refreshing. It really is. So, wanted to get that off the plate first, okay? Moving on. I've done some pretty cool shit over the last 20 years of my life, okay? If it's alright with you, I would like to share some of that with y'all, if that's okay. So, don't worry, this is not going to be like a brag fest brought to you by social media in real life. Nothing like that. However, I still would like to express that I've had the chance to explore a lot of things and places that I never imagined while growing up, ever. I've been to some pretty amazing cities outside of Texas. For starters, here's the thing. I had never left Texas until I was like 16, I think, maybe. Yeah, it was 16. I went to visit my brother in Virginia, and that was a solo trip. My parents weren't with me. It was just me on a plane for the first time, gonna go see my brother. I hadn't seen him in so long, gonna go do that. And then I went back again for my brother's wedding. That was after I graduated high school. That was in the middle of a hurricane, by the way, which was kind of cool, honestly. A little scary, kind of cool. What didn't help with it was that it was a dry wedding, so everybody who is of legal age, which is damn near everybody, was losing their shit. Why would you make it a dry wedding? You can go talk to my brother about that shit. And the second time I left home was for a whole different reason. Me and one of my best friends took this Northwest trip. We were going to go on this Northwest trip so we could go see Yellowstone National Park, the Grand Teton National Park, and the Gorge. This was all like in my early 20s. I didn't even know what the Gorge was. No idea. I remember I remember my dad dropping us off at the Greyhound bus station, and it was just a cheesy moment, but the look on that man's face was just fucking priceless. And I think still to this day, I think he thought he was dropping me off, for a military boot camp. That's what I think. I think that was always his dream, was to get me there, and this was like good enough, I guess. But it was just the hug and the handshake that was just like really like a little weird. And he's sending his boy off, and his boy will come back a man, in 6 months or whatever the fuck. It was just fucking weird. It's just so fucking weird. Now, this is my first time riding a Greyhound bus to go anywhere. So that was like terrifying. I was with my friend, but still, like, there's just a lot of weird shit that happens on those rides. You've heard so many stories, about crazy shit. A lot of strangers, obviously, right? Everyone looked like they had a story to tell in their eyes. You could just tell, it's none of your business what's going on with them and why they're on this fucking bus, but they just look like they got some shit to say and, tread fucking lightly. You know what I mean? There were some young kids that looked like they were like running away from home. I noticed that. I remember there being like some little kids, that looked like they were being kidnapped by an adult that looked nothing like them, so you knew that was not their fucking mom or dad. That was weird. Oh, and you get the old classic under the jacket, of some dude clearly getting jerked off by his girl or stranger, whoever that person was. It's just super fucking weird, It's just, and it's there, so all you can do is just try not to look. But, when you see, like, a jacket moving up and down in someone's lap very vigorously, obviously, this person is getting pleasured, or quite possibly pleasuring themselves, who the fuck knows. It was just a very odd start. It really was. I want to say that I think we took that bus ride so we could meet up with my friend's sister and her boyfriend and his friend, I believe in Colorado, I think. They had already started the journey before we actually started the full trip. I think. It was confusing at the beginning. It just was. But once we arrived, things started, kind of falling into place, and other experiences began to form, and, all that stuff. Honestly, that was the trip that started to put things into perspective for me. Things like human life and stature and, our human consciousness. And when you're walking around, and you're hiking and walking around the national parks, you begin to realize how insignificant we really are on this planet. It's a trip. I was really high on that trip too. I have a lot of good memories and like awesome stories that came with that trip. It was a mind-altering experience, if you will. And I mean that, every single word. I mean that shit. Just a good fucking time, and I'm not trying to harp on this one trip. Trust me when I say there are so many other trips taken that are just as satisfying in its own right. Seriously. But I'm not going to talk about those trips because, if I did, then I would be bragging. Another cool thing that happened, in my 20s, since I knew I wasn't going to a university, my dad got me enrolled into a community college for photography because he knew I found it interesting, and I was always shooting something, I was shooting stills and videos, and, he did me a solid, I will always hold those memories and experiences close to me, always. Just like releasing my first ever album while living as a squatter for, I think, like 4 years, and then following that up with another album. Also living as a squatter. Seriously, can't make that shit up. Yeah. Let's see, what else? What else can I talk about? When I was 24, I almost got shot by Wilco police in my bedroom. And you guys have heard me speak about Wilco a little bit. My dumbass moved right back in that area. Like a fucking idiot. Let's call it zombie brain. Like I was full on zombie brain. Let's go back to all the familiar places. Why the fuck not? And anyway, I was in my room watching Rambo. Not joking. I was in my room minding my business watching Rambo, and where my room was, like, you can't see the front door because I'm in the hallway, so you can't see the front door, but I hear the front door like open aggressively, and I guess it like hit the wall, and I hear the back door open and then the back door slam, and I thought it was maybe one of the roommates, something, cigarette in hand, running through the house. I don't know, something. And moments later, I hear like a voice in the house. That's not one of my roommates. And then I'm hearing like boots, like I know what like military fucking boots sound like, and they're like walking in the hallway. And I just see this random fucking red beam like on my wall, and he's calling out, is there anybody in the house? Is there anybody in these rooms? And I throw my hands up and I said, yeah, I'm in here watching Rambo. I'm watching Rambo. And at that very moment, like, I thought to myself, these are my last fucking words. And I just saw the beam like move from the wall, and it's moving its way down, all the way down to like my dresser, and it's like touching my bed, and I just like look over to him with my hand still up, and he's just looking at me, and he's trying to like piece together like, the faces, and you know how that goes. So luckily, I did not resemble whoever ran through the fucking house. And he proceeded to walk through my bedroom to check the closet, and he's asking me, do you know who such and such is? And I'm like, no, I don't. And he ends up like leaving. He ends up like walking out. And yeah, that was a really fucking scary ass time. But seriously, I thought that those would have been my last words. I'm in here watching Rambo. So yeah. Here's a quick tip, by the way, on how to get out of that situation safely. If you're lucky, keep your arms up and don't move. Kind of that simple. Also, the only thing that should be moving are your eyeballs only. Because, I thought this dude was going to start planting shit in my closet somewhere. And so I just kept watching him like, dude, please don't plant things. And then next thing you know, either I'm getting shot or I'm just going to jail. So, whatever. What else? I saw a dead body for the second time in my life. Seeing that shit will change you forever. Not once, but twice. Take the second dead body that I saw. So I was hanging out with some friends of mine at a place called Bone Daddy's in Austin, Texas. Look it up, it's a real place. This could have been around like 11, maybe 12, midnight or something, and we're hanging out, just shooting the shit, drinking, and we all hear this loud bang off in the distance. And myself and others, we ran down through the parking lot to see if someone needed help or, what the fuck was that sound? And once we got there, we noticed that, like, I guess this car crashed into a dumpster, and it must have bounced off the dumpster and it hit like the light post or something. Once we all got down there, the car was flipped over, and I ran around to the driver's side, and there was just, so much broken glass, and randomly, like, pills. There were, like, pills were just scattered everywhere, and some liquor bottles and beer cans and bottles, they were everywhere. And it was fucking bizarre. It was wild. And I'm just like, just trying to like piece things together. And mind you, I'm like, 4 or 5 beers deep. So, my senses are completely off. And I'm still just trying to like figure out like what the fuck is happening here. So, I bent down and I started calling out for the guy, and, I'm trying to get this dude to respond. And, I'm asking him his name, and I'm just trying to get him to respond to me. And I'm not getting anything, and I'm also still not getting it, that this dude is fucking out. And, he was still attached to his seatbelt. And I'm calling out for him. I'm like, hey, dude, hey, man, you okay? Are you alright? Hey, can you speak to me? Hey, what's your name, dude? Talk to me. Are you okay? Say something, please. I think help is on the way. Just hold tight. And as I'm just saying all this stuff, like, I'm, like, trying to look at him, there's, like, smoke and stuff coming about. And it's a little cloudy inside of me, and, I just noticed that this man's neck is just ripped, and there was really nothing we could fucking do, nothing. And, Jesus, man, it was a bad scene. It was a really, really bad scene.
And then, as we say, the rest is history. Chicago and now West Coast, LA. Who would have known? Who would have known? Not us. But happy nonetheless. Nonetheless, happy, so happy to be doing so great. Real proud of you.
I purposefully left out my adventures in my 30s. I'm not saying that my 30s were terrible. It's just a lot to cover. Also, there's a lot that goes on in your 20s. There's a fuckload of information and adventures that people go on in their 20s, let alone their 30s, right? So, and I've already touched on some of that in one of my previous episodes about my mental health. So, not looking to go back there. But what I will say is, not everyone's 30s will be the same. As long as you're comfortable leaving your 20s behind you, and hopefully you've given yourself enough prep time, specifically financially. That's important, and you're ready to mature. You didn't ask for that, but I'm letting you know, because shit's about to get real, man, and life is about to move a hell of a lot faster than you imagined. Okay, basically, just try to have the most fun you possibly can, because we don't know what's going to happen, right? We don't know where we're going to end up during all this adulting and madness. You know what I mean? I'm a firm believer of working hard and doing your very best to achieve some sort of greatness within yourself. Okay? Just keep working on who you are as a person, who you want to be in the future also, you know, how you want people to see you. That's a big one too. So, now I myself, due to these like invisible blocks throughout my life, I'd chosen not to share parts of my abilities and creative thoughts with people because fear of rejection, you know, and sometimes just being misunderstood. And I held on to that for a very long time. So it's long overdue, and I'm done. I'm done with that. With that said, I like to think the ending of each chapter should be very important to the storyteller, not just the reader, okay? It's supposed to set up the progression or downfall for his, her, or their journey within that story. Now, to whomever the reader is, whether you showed up at the beginning or in the middle of the story, you are more than welcome to continue enjoying this life-size novel with me, or you can simply just close it and move on to something less complicated. I don't make the rules. Well, in this case, I fucking do. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have now arrived at chapter 40. Happy birthday to me. Yay, yay. And that's not old, by the way. That's just more of a reason not to give a fuck about what people think. Especially while, you know, staying curious about what's in front of you. Just saying.